GM. Okay, we just finished testing Sharon in, my live stream that we just finished literally like maybe 10 minutes ago. And I want to talk about her because, of course, after pulling for her, building her, testing her, I've come to a couple of first impressions, right? And I want to let you guys know my first impression on her before we actually talk about a guide on how to play her. Okay? So, before we start, let's take a look at the Sharon I got. Of course, we had to get the skin. We even did a giveaway. It was fun. We had a good time on stream. If you guys don't know, I do stream, so make sure you keep notifications on when I stream. Come to my Discord so that you know when I'm going to be streaming. And let's have a good time, okay? But that all out of the way, this is my Sharon. Of course, you have to get the skin. It's a literal term of reskinning the unit, which is fantastic. You can see, literally, it's a reskin in its purest form. And this is fantastic. I love it. And she does this wig. Oh my goodness, it's Etheria restarts cooking, man. They are actually cooking. So this is the variant that I've tested on stream the most. Okay, and we'll talk about that later, why I say that. But we ran her on the Wellspring Bulwark Swift Smite because this is more HP on the Bulwark, this is more HP on the Wellspring, and then you get a little bit of the effect accuracy from the Swift Smite and, her S2. Nothing too fancy there. Of course, your boy is always a P5555 merchant. So there we have it. Ran her on Jackal Guard. And of course, we run on Sentinel to keep her tanky. Very, very tanky stat lines. Very, very tanky stat line. Try to get her HP as high as possible so that we are guaranteed to land our debuffs, of course. So that's what we are rocking here. But we did build a second variant. And that would be the Blood Buff Swift Rush Swift Smite variant that I was talking about on Jackal Guard. And this is the Jackal Guard that we built fresh from the start. But the thing is, with this setup, you can actually run her on Amber, and she is actually quite annoying on Amber. Like I said, I knew she was going to be target priority number 1 when your opponent's going to try to knock you off, and you putting her on Amber literally does that for you, okay? And so I'm probably going to jump on this variant and then change this to Amber and see how we go. And then I'm going to keep the Jackal variant on this one and see which one I like better, and then we'll make a guide about it, whatever. Alright? So, you can see that with the Blood Buff variant, she's 60k HP, she's 10k HP short, but that's also because we don't have the 45% boost from Wellspring and the 10% boost from the Bulwark. Okay? And this one is quite susceptible to Luvia. Like it or not. It's quite susceptible to Luvia, and Luvia can just send her away very, very quickly. But we are still going to try it out. So, what are my findings? First things first, I want you guys to know that in my climb, we even managed to climb the Mythic 2 here. In my climb here, I have only been able to play against Sharon because they always get first pick and they take away the Sharon. And when I get first pick, this shit happens. They just ban the Sharon. It's quite comical, really, because I'm here trying to test out how to play Sharon, but instead what I got from this entire stream was how to play against Sharon. But that doesn't mean I don't know how to play her. I also learned how to play her and against her. So I want to give my first impression here because after I am your rank 3 in Season SS3, of course I know how to play her. You can see we went on a bit of a losing streak a little bit, right? A bit of a loss here and there. But we climbed back, and once we figured her out, we were winning. Okay, you can see we were winning against Sharon most of the time. This is me having first pick Sharon, but Lisa is just a homie. She's a homie. Okay? And you can see gets banned, don't get to play her, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, we're testing stuff out and we figured out a couple of things. So let's get into it, okay? Let's get into it. First things first, here's my first finding because I'm going to talk about how to play against her more because that's my first impression of her. She is a tempo unit. She is tempo incarnate. If you have no tempo and you fight against her, you will absolutely lose. 100%. 100% you will lose. You can see there is so much tempo in his team through Sharon giving turn meter stealing, Xuanqi turned me to pushing Navet as an opener to stop me from my first initial rotation. And then you have Familia that also pushes the team forward with the S1 and pushes the team back with the S3. Okay? Very, very tempo oriented. And if you don't have that tempo to match her, she is oppressive as fuck. She is absolutely oppressive. However, if you can match her tempo, like for example, like this one right here, if you can match her tempo or be faster than her in terms of, tempo, you win. You automatically win. Okay? And so you can see the draft here, he went for more of a tanky, slow play style and tried to drag the game out a little bit longer because that's why she's very good. If you play too long of a game, she will ruin you. But I just use this team to push myself forward consistent damage off the Xuanli, getting initiative through the Navet and the Luvia as a force ban because I can just send someone away and his life is over kind of thing. And then we have a little bit of a sustain on 3 and go from there. Okay? That's my first finding. She is a tempo heavy unit, and if you can match her tempo, she is not as oppressive. But if you can't, she is very, very oppressive. The third thing I found with her, okay, I don't think it's this one. This one was also not a very good draft. You can see, even though I tried to win tempo over here, he has more out of the Turandot, the Kathos, the Luvia, and the consistent damage. Number 3, she is very weak into Bulwark. Very, very weak into Bulwark. Okay, you can see we fought against Bulwark here. And we lost this because I couldn't match his tempo and he is super fast and I'm not tuned to Etheria drop anymore. But I tried it anyway. But you can see when I beat him, this was when I literally counted all his tempo and I had Bulwark. And because I had the Bulwark unit card in form of Lingluo, Sharon did nothing. Sharon did 0. And that was it. Okay? So, if you play a Bulwark, you will actually be fine. You will actually be fine. Let me see if I can find one here. Right here. You can see he took the Sharon. And he tried to play CC here. And I just Ling on 3. And that's all he could really do. He couldn't do anything to me because I was constantly upkeeping my Bulwarks on my units. And that's it. That is it. So she's quite weak into Bulwark, which is a good thing. She's not obnoxiously broken. She is not obnoxious. Alright? The other thing that I found, let's see if I can find it here. It's not this one. Which one is it? I lost one of them. I can't remember which one it was. I don't think it's this. I find it quite hard to find games that I lost because I just keep winning. But there was a game I fought. I think it's this one. Was it this one? No, it wasn't. It was one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. But Sharon is still very weak to Familia. That's what I wanted to say. She's still quite weak to Familia, no matter what. And so, if you play into a Sharon, Familia can be a good choice into it. Familia can actually be a good choice into it. Actually, you know what? It was Lisa. It was Lisa that showed me that. I won this because he fucking FF too early. But that doesn't matter. The thing about her, Sharon, is that she's going to constantly put dots up. And because she's going to constantly put dots up, even though she has that manifold chorus for that one turn, Familia is going to cleanse that. But because you put so many dots on her, you are going to trigger Familia consistently, non-stop. Non-stop. And so if you keep doing that, Familia is just going to take turn after turn after turn after turn because you're going to constantly proc her Claim Chaser. And then she's going to just constantly press S3, 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 and then you're dead. Okay? And so, Sharon into Familia is still not something she counters at all. Familia is still the best gatekeeper in the game, which is good. Which is something we need so that CC cannot run rampant. CC cannot run rampant. Okay? What I found about playing her, however, is that you just need to make sure your opponent can't get the tempo she needs. And if they are trying to play a very, very long game, they lose automatically. They will lose automatically if they try to play a long game. Okay? You can see I'm not trying to play the super long game here. I'm trying to kill him as fast as I can, but be bulky as enough, and make sure that he doesn't get enough advantage, TLDR, right? And because of that, I win. And so that is the next thing that I found. If you want to play her, you have to, number one, you have to make sure that your opponent doesn't have the tempo. Your opponent doesn't have the tempo because she really punishes turn 2 players who wants to play bulky, natural turn meter kind of gameplay. She will absolutely punish you for that. But if you try to do anything other than that though, she is not that good. Okay? So that is how you use her. I don't think she is going to be an Omega threat depending on how the meta goes. But she is still a threat nonetheless. If you try to play slow, you can always get punished by a Sharon on 3. And you might just lose the game because of that. Because her damage, she makes that dot do way too much damage now. Which is very, very nice. Her S1 literally explodes all of the dots on you. So that's a good thing. Okay? That's how she punishes slow players. That's how she punishes slow players here. So that's what I found about her and my first impression. She is a very tempo-oriented unit. I know I've said that word way too many times, but I have to get my point across. Okay? I have to get my point across. You can see, if I don't bring any sustain, and if I try to play, you know, the more bulkier route with like a Sanctilin plus the Torpor, because I tried to answer her through her turn meter pushing through the Plume and the Sharon, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because I was playing a 3v4. I was supposed to fight into a Luvia, right? So that is my findings. Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys played enough of her? If you guys have played a lot of her, let me know what are your findings. Those are mine. That's my first impression. And I thought I'd get this video out. Okay? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Catch you in the next one.